Hello there, and welcome into a special edition of what is normally a Water Break Wednesday, but we're going to make it a Water Break Thursday, presented by Crown Royal. My name is Drew Dougherty, and I've got my good friend Deepi Sidhu riding along with me for this. And Deepi, it's good to be with you. It's good to see you. We're going to answer fan questions, so send those in right now via Twitter, via Facebook, via YouTube. However you're checking this out, we want to hear from you because we know you've got a lot of questions, and we're going to have some answers, because there's a lot that's unknown out there. But here's what we do know. Nick Caserio is the general manager of the Houston Texans. That was made official this morning. Deepi, it's not new news if you've been paying attention for the last few days like we have, but it's big news nonetheless, and the Texans have a new man in charge. Comes after 2 decades worth of experience, 6 Super Bowl rings, and a lot of success there at the New England Patriots.
Yeah, we saw the reports earlier this week. The Texans made it official. I know people were saying it was official. It's not official, I think, until the team announces it. So it was made official today. Nick Caserio is going to do his press conference with media tomorrow. So we'll get to actually talk to him and learn more about him and what his vision is for the Houston Texans as the 5th general manager in franchise history. So we'll get a chance to know a little bit more. Right now, we've got some stories up on HoustonTexans.com. I had a chance to speak with Boston Globe's senior NFL writer, Ben Volin. He's covered Nick Caserio and the Patriots for a number of years. So we will try to answer your questions based on our perspective. I tried to talk to some of my colleagues in the league and see what impressions they had of him and what direction they foresee or what he's done in the past with the Patriots. So we will do your best to answer your questions. But like Drew said, there's still a lot of decision making that needs to be done. There's still a head coach search that's underway. It's hard to believe the season just ended Sunday, because it's really been like we've been at 100 miles an hour, it seems like, since that last snap was taken on Sunday, because things have certainly not slowed down around Energy Stadium.
Indeed. All right. Andrew has a question. When will we hear from Nick Caserio? Like Deepi mentioned, it's tomorrow. It's going to be a noon press conference. So Caserio, as well as team chairman and CEO Cal McNair, will meet with the media, take questions from the media. You can bet that's going to be up all over our social channels on HoustonTexans.com. So make sure you check it out there. Jeevan in Cyprus has this. Should we be quick to judge Caserio? Well, the obvious answer to that is no. Don't judge before you see what's happened. But we are all humans, so we're hard to judge people. But just based on what we've read, what we've heard, this is an impressive guy. This is a guy who probably could have been a GM a lot sooner had he chosen to. But he was in a great situation there in New England, and they were very, very successful. 2 different eras, really, of Super Bowl teams. He was there for the early part. He actually started in 2001, the year and the season that they won their first Super Bowl. And they had that first Super Bowl era where they won 3 out of 4 or 5 years. And then he was here over the last decade as well with New England when they went to 6 more. He was actually a wide receivers coach for 1 season. And it was the season in 2007 when they might have had the greatest offense of all time with Randy Moss and Wes Welker. He was their position coach there. So he's seen both sides. He was also a quarterback in college, a very successful one at John Carroll University. It's a Catholic school, in not a D1 school necessarily, but it was a good program that he was a part of. And when he left that program, he was the school's all-time passing leader. He was a 2-time captain. He started all 4 years there. So he had levels of success playing the game, and then as a scout, as a personnel guy, and even as an assistant coach, Deepi.
Yeah, and I mean, I know it's hard not to judge because we certainly have had our experience with the Patriots organization, and as much as people might want to turn in a different direction to hear that the next general manager comes from the Patriots, I know people have already got their preconceived notions, but just in learning a little bit more about Nick Caserio, I think Drew kind of hit on all the different facets of his experience. I learned that he also sits in the coach's booth during game day, and he's on the headset with offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels and tells him down and distance and what he sees from the defense. Like he sort of does a lot of different things in the Patriots organization. And from what I understand, he's really the Bill Belichick's right-hand man and very much the de facto general manager. So much so that he runs that NFL draft for the Patriots, and he does the press conferences afterwards for the media, not Belichick after the draft. So he has a big stake in those, like Drew said, the 6 Super Bowl championships, particularly the last 3 where he served in the role that he's leaving now with the Patriots, director of player personnel. He's had that role since 2008. So his resume is very impressive. It seems like he could have had any general manager job he wanted, but the Patriots didn't want to let him go. Obviously, we saw that a few years ago when he tried to come to Houston and the Patriots blocked it. So now that his contract is up, he actually signed an extension 2 years ago, but they're allowing him to go and take another job elsewhere. He's very much well respected in New England for what he has done. So in that organization, if you talk to anybody there, they don't really have, no one has anything bad to say, which is the thing that I'm quickly learning. And as many people as I've talked to about him is, he's a very, very smart, very focused, a nice guy, very easy to sort of get to talk to and all that. We'll see for ourselves when he shows up in Houston. I think he's arriving sometime today. But everything I've heard is very impressive about him. I think this first decision of head coach will be him and Cal McNair, and that's that's going to tell a lot. I think the direction of the franchise. So I think his experience is one thing, and I think seeing where this head coaching search goes is definitely going to be the next thing that we're going to.
And that plays into Anthony's question. He's asking any updates on the head coaching hiring or head coach hiring. So Texans have interviewed some guys for the head coach position. We'll see who else they interview after Caserio gets here. It might even have already started happening. We just might not have heard, but no new updates, but the process continues as far as that goes. And then Brooke has a fantastic question. What separated Nick Caserio from the other candidates? And that's a great question that I'm sure Cal McNair is going to answer on tomorrow's or during tomorrow's press conference. And then Elijah has this one. What are Caserio's top 3 priorities in his first 30 days? Well, that's another one that I think Caserio is going to answer as well. But Alex has the kind of whopper of them all. What will be Caserio's biggest challenge in his first year? And I think it's fixing this defense that really struggled mightily in 2020, because you squandered a year of Deshaun Watson playing at an otherworldly level, a brilliant level. Some of the stuff he did as far as his completion percentage, 70% north of that number. He was able to lead the league in yards per attempt. I mean, almost 9 yards per. Those are just astronomically high numbers. In fact, I think only 3 other quarterbacks in NFL history have done that combination of numbers. It was Joe Montana, a year he won a Super Bowl with the Niners, Steve Young, a year he won a Super Bowl with the Niners, and Drew Brees, the year the Saints won the Super Bowl in 2009. So biggest challenge, what do you think it is for Caserio, Deepi?
I mean, I think just building along that, I think the challenge is going to be not having the draft picks that most teams are having, because most of these teams that are hiring a new general manager and head coach, they've got like so many picks in the first and the second round. The Texans don't have that. They don't have a first or a second this year. They've got all their picks starting in the third round and later. And then also salary cap. I think he's going to have to make some tough decisions as to where to free up some money and bring in some of those players, some of that talent to help out this defense. So I think that he has to turn the defense around, but the means with which he does it will have to be creative, and because he is somewhat limited. So I think that's going to be his biggest challenge.
Good question from Cedric. When will Caserio start evaluating the players and assistant coaches? I think that's already begun. I would be stunned if it hasn't. So I think now, Cedric, if not yesterday, before that, probably had his ideas, which might have been a factor in why he was hired. Thomas has this. Is there any chance of elevating to a higher draft pick? Texans have 8 draft picks in 2021, none in the first or second round. So they want to get back up into having higher draft picks. But I don't know that they're going to do that this year. They might, trade back. And I don't know they have much ammo to get these higher draft picks. But once you get through this this draft, then you're going to start to have a full complement of picks moving forward, because none of them have been dealt away, DP.
Yeah, and your third round pick is going to be an early one. So at least you have that. But you're right. There's not really a lot of capital to be working with. You really can't be trading away draft picks in a year like this. You kind of have to make the best of what you have. And hopefully I think they can bring in some players through free agency and sign some guys that can start contributing right away.
No doubt. All right. Well, Deepi, this is fun. This has been fun. And we'll answer more questions next week on a Water Break Wednesday. And like we said, it might be on a Thursday. It might be on a Friday.
Special edition.
We're going to move around. So you be flexible, because we're flexible, because we're going to move as news breaks, because there's still going to be news breaking about this football team over the offseason. All right. Good stuff from you as always, DP. Thanks to Amanda Caffey, to Andrew Temperley, and to Tyler Markoff for putting this all together. And thank you all for sending in these questions. We wouldn't answer them had it not been for you. So you're the best. We'll see you again. This has been a Water Break Wednesday presented by Crown Royal.